Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
Hey, and good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, Ipsy Ed Bonderenka.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, I'm looking at that cut in your head, dude.
Yeah, it was a close shave. A really close shave. Yeah.
You better watch those robots.
Yeah, I know.
All right, and also joining us in studio, Susan Ianni. Right? Did I pronounce that right?
Ianni, like you're going to ante up in a poker game.
Yeah.
Is that Ianni or Laurel?
Yeah, I know. That was Laurel to me when I heard that.
Right,
it
was
not
all
Susan
Laurel
I
to me.
Laurel. It's Susan
no,
Ianni.
it's Susan Ianni. Yeah.
I heard Yanni, so I don't...
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the difference was, but yeah, I heard Laurel.
Yeah, that was kind of a strange thing. I love those little quirky things that come off the internet like that, but it happens. So, well, what we do on The Drift every Saturday is go over the news that I put on the dailydrift.com, and if you're not going there, you should. It's
the news you need to know.
Thank you very much. I put a lot of work and effort into you getting information you don't find in the mainstream media, so please go to thedailydrift.com. That's www.thedailydrift.com. Okay, so, Susan, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
We are going to step away from the politics of the week for just a few minutes here.
Great.
We're going to talk about what you got going on up in Northfield Township, Whitmore Lake, in parentheses there. You and your husband and son.
And our son.
Bought what was Rolling Meadows golf course,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And it still is.
It still is.
So tell us a little bit about how that... I love the story. I want you to relate the story of how you guys...
Well,
decided to buy it.
It's we happen to live on the golf course. We've lived there for 20 years. We built a house on the second tee.
Oh, you weren't homeless then.
We know. Oh. And, but, for us to, and I'm not a golfer, but my husband and children are. And so for us to get to the golf course, we had to, drive down North Territorial Road. We couldn't, go through the backyard or the fence. And it was just always a dream of the families. It's like, boy, someday we'd like to have this golf course. And it was family-owned. The Felix family had built it, and it opened in 1978. And then they had run it for years. And then when Tony Felix passed away in 2002, the kids took it over. And I think just got tired. You've been doing something for so long. And
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's not real rewarding, for a lot of work. And at that time, our son was at U of M, and he was taking this entrepreneurial class, and he had always worked at the golf course since he was 16, summer, vacations and stuff. And he comes home, and he says, Mom, Dad, he says, you should buy that golf course now. It fits all the criteria in my course I'm taking. It's underperforming. They don't want to do it anymore. I think they were trying to sell it to developers, and so him and my husband went over there and talked to one of the kids, the 5 kids that inherited it, and she said, great timing, we're done, we're tired. And, it was kind of like that movie, We Bought a Zoo.
Yeah.
We should do one, We Bought a Golf Course, because it needed a tremendous amount of work. We did not have a liquor license, so that was the first thing we needed to do.
Wow.
And we got the liquor license, and, then we got the commercial kitchen license and put in a kitchen, and the course needed to be needed a lot of work. It needed a lot of fertilization. Bunkers all needed to be rebuilt, trees cut down, irrigation fixed, just both inside and out. But the gem that I liked personally, because like I said, I'm not a golfer, so my husband and son take care of all that part. I like the barn. There was this barn that was the clubhouse. And as we started to clean it up, because it had bats in the attic, it's a true story. And there was a drop ceiling. So we called a bat company to come out and get rid of the bats. And, they had made a home there for a long time. So when the bat company came out to get rid of the bats, they said, you got to rip out all your drywall, your drop ceiling, everyth's got to go.
Guano.
I'm telling you.
Guano.
So,
El guano.
Yeah.
We really had put a lot of time, money, and effort into gutting the whole barn and uncovered this beautiful
How old is the barn?
1860 barn. It was built in 1860, Sutton Barn. And when we did all this, taking out all the drywall and enzyming the thing and cleaning it up, it just exposed this beautiful 1860 barn. And it was just beautiful. And then the lower level, which were the horse stables, we cleaned all that out, and it exposed, again, just beautiful stone and beautiful trees, tongue and groove, how they had built the barn in the 1860s. So we've spent 4 years restoring it. Wow. This is our 4th season, and now it's ready. And it is a beautiful rustic venue for weddings, retirement parties. We're doing a rehearsal dinner in June, a big rehearsal dinner, and we just did a 30th wedding anniversary a few weeks ago. So
that's a place to have a memorable event.
It's a place,
then.
And that's what, when I tour people, and we just started marketing it this season, because again, it took, like I said, this is our 4th season. It took 3 years to do the restoration on the barn. But when I tour people, I tell them, I says, you can do a anniversary party, birthday party at any restaurant you want, and people will never remember where you were. Mm-hmm. But when you do an event at Sutton Barn, people will never forget Sutton Barn, because it's so unique, it's so cool, it's so rustic, and it's original. When we had to put in a beam in the lower level to support it, and my son drove up north to get one from a barn. We restored it with the original barn wood and barn.
And it is beautiful. The little bar.
The bar's all.
Is just you. I've said it on the show many times. It's like being up north, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, instead of driving 4 hours to a place in Gaylord or something to have a little drink, this is like right there, and it's 15 minutes down the road for most of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's right there on Sutton Road off of North Territorial.
Yeah.
Easy to get to, easy to find, and just a really cool atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
and
really
awesome. It's some of the things they told me we couldn't do, because it's a barn. We were able to do. We got air conditioning put in it. We have TVs put in it. We had to use satellites because it's hard to get cable out there. So all the things that we found as an obstacle we're able to overcome. And the course, too, that's the thing I hear when people, the golfers, I ask them, what do you like about the course? Because they love it. And they say it's like being up north because there's no houses. Ours is on the second tee, but you can't even see it. It's so far away. There's no houses. There's no road noise. There's lots of nature. There's lots of animals. And they feel like they're up north, yet you're in, Whitmore Lake, Ann Arbor.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Whitmore Lake being undeveloped, thanks to a series of boards up there that are dragging their feet on developing, and some people that are like, shut the door behind me, they don't want to see any development at all. But it's good in this instance because it has left intact a great little golf course, a great little bar, a great little event setting. And we were talking before the show, 2018's here, election's here. What happened to our Tea Party? Where's all our Tea Party people? It's time maybe to start having, if you're inclined to talk politics, head out to Rolling Meadows Golf Course and hit the bar.
Let's pick a night a week
and start talking up how we can get involved to make 2018 election a red wave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you Tea Party guys that are out there, time to get your motivation back, start meeting once a week, and head to your guys' place.
Sure, we'd love it. Yeah, and we have a nice, little menu and good cold beer.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we can get a little radio personalities here from the station to come down and help out a little bit too. So maybe it's something to think about. This has been in the back of my head for a while. What happened to the Tea Party? Why aren't we meeting more often like you do at Big Sky Diner? Mm-hmm. Right? You guys still do.
And I've heard Tyrone say the same thing. Where's the Tea Party? Where's the Tea Party?
Yeah, it's probably time to get back. Well, so great. So maybe what we'll have to do, Ed and I will talk after the show, and maybe we'll start getting a meeting one day a week down at your place. And
we would love to host and participate, and would love to have people come out and see what we've got to offer for the community. Yeah,
and contrary to public opinion, conservatives are not stick in the muds. We like to drink. At least I do.
Really?
We like to drink and party a little bit. So that's something to get out and do. So we'll definitely do this. So what's a good phone number for you?
Well, if you want to talk about events, I'm the one who does the events. So just call me directly, 734-320-1841. And if you want to call the golf course to set up a tea timer or something, it is 734-662-5144.
And if you didn't get all that, you can look at currentonline.com. You can
COURANT online.com.
Exactly.
And there's a nice ad in the paper.
Sure, and
you've been advertising with us.
The ads in the paper, and it'll tell you the website to go to if you want to see the barn. If you want to see Sutton Barn, it's suttonbarn.com.
Oh, imagine that.
And
wow, what's the odds of that happening?
We got suttonbarn.com, and it has all the pictures of the barn and the different venues that are available. There's 3 different venues. There's the barn, there's the cellar patio, and then we have a beautiful pavilion. So, pick your venue and tell me what you want to do, and I'll help you figure it all out.
Okay. So what size parties would you imagine? What would be the largest group you might have in there?
Well, if we're going to do
Thurston High School
we can do a couple hundred
reunion.
people easy. A couple hundred people if you want to do family reunions, corporate picnics and things like that at the pavilion. And it's got a fishing pond and horseshoes and fire pit and pavilion and gazebo. The barn for weddings without a tent, so just using the barn and the cellar patio and so on and so forth, probably the most I'd want to do is 120. And then after that, we'd want to get a tent.
Okay.
Which is no big deal. We have the company that can do that. So, if you get a tent, how many do you want?
Right. So there's a flexibility there that other venues don't provide because you're not paying to rent this humongous place for only 120 people. And yet, if you have more than 120, 200, 300, you can accommodate that. Plus the surroundings, like you said, it's a nice place to walk around, see what else is on the grounds. And are there any packages like have your event and 9 holes or something like that? Or is there anything
we do if we're going to book. I have a couple brides coming out tomorrow to look at the facility, and they have the small weddings. They're 80 to 100 people, which is perfect, really, for our venue without having to do anything else. And I'm sure we can throw in, like, for your bachelor party, some golfing and
that's a perfect
so on
idea.
and so forth. I mean, again, this is our first year presenting it, so I'm very flexible with what we can do. What do you need? We'll put some different packages together. But I'll tell you what, when you look at my pricing and you see what we rent a barn for, we are so reasonable compared to what the other barns go for. Because being my first year, I'm just renting it to get the exposure.
Right.
Now, my best friend, he lives in Brighton.
Okay.
And his father-in-law, their family, his wife's family, owned 100 acres out in Brighton and farmed it forever and a day. And actually their house, the parents-in-law's house, was built around a log cabin.
Oh, nice.
So when you went into the house and you went far enough in, you were actually in a log cabin.
Yeah.
And Jesse died a few years ago. And so his widow sold off the property and they subdivided. Now, they had given my friend Jim and his wife Helen, they're both my friends, a house up on a hilltop overlooking this. So we used to be able to actually shoot off his front porch down into farmland. Now there is a residential community there. It's all subdivided. But they took the barn. This is where that's going. They took the barn from like 1840 or something like that with all peg construction, very few nails in it. And they took the barn and they did not level it, and they made a community center for that.
Oh, that's
for
neat.
That subdivision that they had built, homeowners association and all that. So that's a barn can be a very nice venue. I went to a wedding out in Saline. I thought, well, actually, we went way out past Saline, and the reception, not the wedding, but the reception was held in a barn. It's a very nice place to have a reception, even business luncheons. Any kind of business function that you might be having, you want to impress your clients.
Sure.
Yeah.
We've done several events. And then for the weddings, we had a gazebo built for the ceremony. So we have the gazebo that overlooks a pond and the 9th green. So we have the facility for the ceremony. And then you just walk to the barn and you have the upstairs and the lower level. And it's just great. You're right. It's a memorable place to be at. You will never forget you were there.
And you can see it. I remember seeing the pictures online. It's very good a pictorial of what's available at suttonbarn.com.
Yes, we have a good picture. If you go to the website, gallery. They call it. It's called the gallery, and it has all the pictures. Because we did a big wedding last year, and I did it. It was for a relative because I really wasn't prepared last year, but I did a wedding for a relative, and it was just beautiful.
Great,
awesome. All right, well, you'll have to keep us updated.
I will.
And we're going to get hold of you and see if we can't start getting a little tea party
Activity
action.
going,
In fact,
yeah.
we've got a caller who